Hey guys, here we are. I'm going to jump back after shaving twice with the Seaforth soaps, Spiced and Heather. I like Spiced a lot. I'll be keeping it around. I sold the Heather actually, and so it's going to be on its way out soon to somebody else who likes the lavender style soaps. Performance is obviously awesome with that base. Spearhead has a wonderful soap base. So we're going to step back into another great soap base, one that's not new, and it fits perfectly into these vintage Old Spice mugs, Old Spice shaving mugs, and this is Fine Accoutrements. And this is the Santal Absolut, pretty much my all-time favorite scent for quite a while now. We'll be using the Nacet blade, and it has 300 uses, 300 dots on that little envelope, and plus 37 dots on this index card. And so we're going to do 338, use number 338 today, with an Omega Boar brush and an 80266. I always forget the number. It's just kind of random. It's none of the fun numbers that it's easy for me to remember, like 52, cards in a deck, 75, just a nice round year number. That kind of thing. There's some numbers that are just easier to remember than others, and I can never remember what this little guy is. As you can see, he's not very dense. He doesn't have a whole lot of tips. You can see that there's a split guy right there. So some of them have split. This is my only Omega where it's a comfortable brush fairly early on in its life. The other Omegas I have are just so stiff and the tips are not enjoyable. And it seems like it's going to take way too many uses that I'm interested in putting into them before they start getting really soft, or as soft as people are claiming that they get. And my Simogs and Zenith brushes are way faster to get into a nice, wonderful place. And so, to be honest, if it takes 300 uses to get an Omega in a good place, then even if my Simogs and Zeniths in 100 uses get too floppy, I'd rather just buy another one and start over again instead of, waiting for an Omega to get good. Currently, at least that's my thought. So this has been soaking for not too long, just a few minutes. So let's get him back in the water. Boars do absorb water, so it is important to soak those guys before use. The special edition of the Fatip, and this is the open comb base plate. This edition comes with a solid bar as well as the open comb, and this is the Piccolo handle. It looks a little thin and kind of dainty, but when you hold it in your hand, it's actually pretty solid. It's got some weight to it because it's solid brass inside. And let's go ahead and put the blade in. Here is the blade. It's got the 3 dots kind of there for identification, as well as you can see the bend in the blade that got put on it a while back. Alignment is sometimes an issue with the Fatip razors. I often don't have an issue with this one because of what I'm about to show you, and I showed it all in August, and so I don't really need to go into it too much for you regular viewers. The dots for this razor I am putting toward the handle. It's just something I decided to do with this little marathon guy. I hold him flat, I drop that guy on there flat, and I just kind of gently tighten everything down. Most of the way, not all the way. And then I look at it and review. And a lot of times, just like today, that's it. It just kind of lands in a neutral, in the right alignment. It can be pushed left or right either way if you want to change things up and customize things, but often it lands just kind of in the middle, in the right spot. And I've heard some people never have any problems. Some people, there's no give. The tolerances are a little bit better with some of the other razors, and it just lands in the right spot. I've heard other people have the opposite problem where it's difficult to actually get it into the right, an even exposure on both sides. So there is a little bit of a quality issue with the Fatip razors at some point. I think that maybe they've ironed them out. I know that I've gotten 6 or 8 Fatip razors over the last couple of years, and none of them have had a problem. So, but I do want to make it public that you know, full disclosure, some people do. All right. We'll be using the post-shave, same as yesterday, Sharp Dressed Man. This is an older version of the Balm, and I just want to use it up. It's a nice scent. I want to use it up before it goes bad and rancid and all that stuff. So the blade is in, and we are going to load 20 seconds, just like we did the other day. Oh, what a great scent. And I'm tracking the weight. I recorded the weight the first time I used this, and I am going to see how quickly the fine Accoutrements soap is used, how many portions of a gram I use per shave. Then I can forecast how long one of their pucks will last for me. I've done that with Chiseled Face and Stirling and Martin de Condre. So I'm going to add this guy to my list where I know how much I use. All right, I'm going to get my face wet, and then we'll start loading up the soap. The water coming from the tap. We've had a couple of cold days. It is starting to get chilly. And while I still do use the cold water for this kind of purpose, I do start bringing in, once we've got kind of winter coming in, I do start bringing in a little warm so that I don't freeze my face off. That also desensitizes my skin to be able to not feel the brush or blade quite as well as I usually do. And also I like tepid water at the end of the shave instead of freezing water because it cleans the brushes a little bit better. All right, this brush doesn't hold a lot of water, but we'll shake out some of it, keep it kind of lightly wet. Let's do a 20-second load. 45 was right there, so we'll just start and go to 55 and then 05 for a 20-second load. We'll go to 06 because that's when 46 is when I actually started to load. And it's coming around pretty quickly. 20 seconds doesn't last that long. So we'll see what kind of lather we get. This is a small, you know what? Let's do another 5 seconds because this is a smaller brush. Than the Badgers and that sort of thing that I've been using lately. And so I want to make sure that we are able to pick up enough lather. And then what I have pretty much always off camera that you usually don't see is just a washcloth, simple washcloth. And I just like to have it there because it can receive any wet items. It can help things not to roll around. And it's a great place to dry items. When I take my blade out of the razor and I take the razor apart, I can put those parts on there, fold the flap over and kind of dab them dry, that sort of thing. All right, let's start working up the lather. So this is a small little inexpensive Omega brush. And like I said, it is the only one that, while young, has been comfortable for me. And it totally changed my viewpoint on Omega brushes. Because it is behaving a little bit more like a Samode than an Omega. Now I've heard that Omega uses the same bristles across all the different brushes, and so I don't know why this guy is different. I do know that they have dyed bristles or bleached bristles and unbleached bristles. I've got a feeling these have been bleached because they have been stained, dyed to have that brown stripe in there, the dark colored stripe. So we've got a nice pastiness going on, an early lather. And then I will turn the camera, point it down in just a second so that we can focus on that. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 teaspoons of water in the lather bowl. This is my 3D printed lather bowl. If you'd like one, you can print your own. Plans are available in the description. Files you'll need to be able to print. There are online services as well. Go to sugardaddyShaves.com. You can go to my 3D printing page and see 3 different services that my viewers have used and recommend for you to give that a shot if you want. I think generally $35, $38 seems to be the going rate for this kind of bowl to get printed. Some public libraries have 3D printers, so it's worth checking that too. And we're continuing to keep having a very peaky type appearance here, and that's normal as we are building the lather and adding in water. Now we've got 3½ teaspoons of water in it. Sure doesn't look like we're going to have any problem with not having enough lather. I may not need to have gone another 5 seconds, but you know, it's okay. So what did I do? I guess I did 25 seconds total of load time here with this smaller brush. And see, now look, the peaks that I showed you before, it's not as peaky and ridgy and cratery. So that means those are things to look for as you decide where you like to have your own kind of hydration level. Those are some landmarks and milestones to be aware of. And so we can kind of pull the lather down to the bottom here and then pull it up and watch how things go. We do not have very long peaks. And those are slowly moving, but they're doing a reasonable job of supporting themselves, supporting their own weight. So I'm going to push some more water into this lather. Another ½ teaspoon there, and then I feel like adding another half to add a full teaspoon. So now we are at 4½ teaspoons of water. Now, if you want a shortcut, once you figure out if you're using the same brush consistently over and over, you could figure out how much loading to do, and then how many seconds of loading you like, and then how much water. And so if you had a syringe, you discovered that consistently 5 teaspoons is right where you want to be, then you can try adding all 5 teaspoons at once. No harm in trying that. Some soaps are fine with having all the water up front. Some soaps get bubbly, and it takes a while to work that airiness and bubbliness out. And so they do like it better if you can add that stuff, add water slowly. Okay, there we go. Now look at the surface area we have here. Do you see how smooth it is? It's just kind of like melted marshmallow cream. It looks very different than what I have been showing you, especially in the beginning with all the craters and peaks. Again, we can pull the lather down and then lift it up. Oh, now see, look at the longer of a stretch we had. It just looks totally different. It is collapsing slowly. Now this is just a high quality lather. This soap base is very underrated. I think maybe because it's a hard soap, people think that it takes long to put the lather together, and who knows, maybe it does. See, I don't mind spending a few minutes. I kind of think of it like a meditation kind of experience, a part of my day that I just relax and breathe, talk to you guys, inform you guys about anything I might have learned, or just kind of reporting in on news or the lather or whatever. And so I just don't mind spending a few minutes on it. And I believe, look at that, there we go. I'll bet that is where we need to stop. And then you have the little arm there, and that's what it's there for. You can put your thumb through it, kind of like that all the way through it though. and have a good hold on it, but I found that it's such a light bowl that that didn't really work out well for me. I just hold it from the bottom around that flange that you see along the bottom of it, and that's very secure for me. I'm going to pause you while I get my face wet. Today I did not take a shower before the shave, nor did I really wash my face, so this is kind of the face wash right here. And see, this is very soft, and not all of the tips have split. It's much nicer than, well, actually, you know what? It's actually nicer than the Zenith B23 that I have. That I think at this point actually they have similar number of uses, and so this Omega, in terms of comfort, is beating out that B23. The B23 just the Zenith there has too much backbone right now. I don't know how many uses it's going to take to pull that backbone down and let it kind of relax and be easy to display. But right now, I just never thought I would see this Omega is excelling in that area when compared to that particular Zenith. Now my B10 Zenith and my B2 are right around where this guy is. They're very soft, big, easy splay. Those are bigger knots than this one, so I do like those better. And I'm sure the 23 is going to get there at some point. And see, look at all the water that I added to this soap. And even still, this is just a little pasty. See, look at that surface. You can paint back and forth like this. And sometimes if you see craters and things like that, that can tell you that maybe you need a little bit more water. And also sometimes that first pass needs more water than the other passes. And I have seen cases where I added enough water for the first pass and then it kind of ended up to be a little too much for the other passes. Maybe because there's just more rinsing of your face and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to add a little to the... Yep, and I can feel the lather improving, getting creamier. So we've got 6 teaspoons in this lather so far. And as you've seen so many times with this kind of lather generation, we've got a lot accumulated around the goatee we can just take off. Look how awesome that looks. We've also got some along the neckline we can remove if we want. And then we can just kind of reapply, just spread it out here. We've spent a few minutes with it, so we have done enough to connect the lather to our skin so that it's going to protect us. We don't want it just to sit on top of the skin. We want the lather to be worked into it. That way it can do its job properly. All right, here we go. 338 uses now. I was surprised at how tuggy it was last shave, and then I realized why. It was because I had kind of skipped a shave. See, right now it's barely tuggy. Started shaving with it yesterday, and it was pulling so hard I thought, oh, this thing has suddenly aged, and it might not go to 365. And I remembered these old blades like this that have been used so many times don't, at this age, do not like to be, at least with my hair growth, to be used every other day. They like daily use. They like to cut those stubble that has been growing for 1 day instead of 2 days. And there we go. Nice comfy shave. And the rest of them are going to be even better. And I want to pause you for that. All right, so we've got a good rinse. The water was so cold, I kept it kind of an abbreviated rinse. I'm stirring the lather because I did add half a teaspoon of water. Thin down the lather just a little bit because it was quite creamy. Needed a little bit more water. I believe this type of lather that I use that's so wet is one of the keys to getting me so many shaves on a blade. No proof of that, of course, but that's my guess. So, yeah, I definitely did not have to go back and do 5 more seconds of loading because we've done 1 pass and it looks like I've got 5 passes in there. We just got tons of lather. This fine Accoutrements soap is just tremendous. And it's been that way for a while. This is not some new base. Shame of it is I've got all this awesome lather, but I don't need very much of it at all. This little kind of thin coat that you see is more than enough. There we go. Oh, that scent is so good. Man. I wish there were more sandalwood scents that were kind of along this vein. All right, now we will go with cross the grain. Very comfortable now. Light touch as always. I do switch to vertical when I'm near my goatee here and when I'm over near my ear just to get those side areas accurately. So the shave with Heather yesterday, Heather the soap from Seaforth, it was one of those that I thought was okay during the shave, but then as I kind of smelled it afterwards, and it usually happens in reverse. I don't like something at first and then it grows on me, but this was the opposite. I thought it was okay at first, but then I just grew not to like it more and more. I think, and I've got other lavender soaps that I enjoy, like Cyril Salter has a nice, just classic lavender soap that I'm a fan of, and it's a hard soap. It's going to last forever. It's inexpensive too. Highly recommend it. Great lather. But I think it was the sage, maybe, and some other pieces that joined together that made me not like that variation of it. And I'm glad I was able to find somebody who wanted it. And indeed, I think there's probably a bunch of people out there who would like that that particular scent, that profile that was created. All right, let's rinse. Did I say, are we at 4.5 teaspoons of water, or are we at 6.5? I can't remember. I might have to go back and rewatch my video. This is perfect. It's not so thin that it's flying around. It's not so thin that it's drippy. It's thick enough to still be creamy. And it's definitely slick and doing the job. Let's just kind of feel. And yeah, I've got 3 passes in here easily. We can just feel it here. Let me see if I can get to a better angle for you guys. I mean, that's just, there's a hair. That's just tremendously slick. It is a light oily and soapy kind of slickness. It's not there's no drag type of feeling at all. It does resist compression, this kind of compression, when you have a lot of lather in between. It is very hydrated. You saw those nice long, peaks that we were able to get, not supporting its own weight. I mean, it's been this way for years, this soap. And to me, this just competes with anything out there. I mean, new bases are great. And I guess where this may fail with some people are those with extremely dry skin. And so they need some moisturizers in their soap. Maybe the ease of creation, because it's a hard soap. Maybe people just don't want to work as hard with this one. But now I'm testing this soap out, trying to see how much usage I get. Maybe I should try some shortcut lathers to see if we can generate a great one quickly from this. Just, it is a fine soap, and pun intended, this lather is just tremendous, and it's inexpensive. When I started out, they had refillable pucks that you could purchase. There are probably a few retailers where some of these refillable these pucks are available still, but they had to change that plan because people just weren't doing the refills as much as they thought they would. And so the stone bowls, they had these it was basically like this mug, but it was a stone bowl / mug. It wasn't intended for you to generate the whole lather. It's not a lather bowl, it's a loading bowl. But it fit the puck exactly, and they were cool. They stacked up. And so fortunately I was able to buy some of those. And so I've got a bunch of fine soaps all up in a stack, and you can pick which one you want, etc. And they're color coded, which is really cool. And then the idea was you'd keep that stone bowl around and then order your puck whenever your first one goes out, that sort of thing, refill the things. And so now what I have to do, if I want one that, if I can't find the refill puck anywhere, I just have to pay maybe $3 or $4 more, get the one with a plastic container around it, but that puck will still come out of the plastic container and go into the stoneware bowl. And then I could reuse the plastic container somehow. It's a decent container, so I'm sure I can. But it's going to take me forever to use up these pucks, I think, anyway, because I have so many soaps. And one of the reasons I was talking just now, see, we don't have any dissipation of the lather. Looks great. I don't have any itchiness. I don't have any dryness on my skin. So I think your average skin folks to oily folks like me, this soap base is just tremendous. And look what's happening. I set this brush down on its base, and this soap is so hydrated that it's slowly moving down the handle. This is just a perfect formulation right here. Perfect for me. You guys might like it a little drier. Some of you guys might like it a little wetter. But this one, perfect for me. And we'll do cross grain again. Little drip. Sometimes when the blade has gone on this long, I can't do just a 3-pass shave. I have to repeat the neck area for like a 3.5-pass shave. Sometimes if the lather is as good as this one, I'll do a 4-pass shave just to enjoy the lather some more. Let's see where my bend is. It's not right there, so I want to use that to do my tricky spot here. And this is, see, it's still sharp it's not tugging, still taking care of business right there. And now granted, it's not going to be as close of a shave as a newer blade. It's just not. This is just scientific curiosity why I'm taking it this far. All right. Let's see. Let me go ahead and just a quick kind of half rinse here. And I know my lather is good because I Just felt that when the water hits your face, you still feel slick, and you still feel like, boy, you know, if I just added some water to my face, I could probably just keep on going without adding any more lather. But it still rinses pretty quickly. There's a balance there. If you leave too much concentrate on your face there, then you definitely could shave again. And it would be, oh, see, I habitually lathered up my cheeks, so I guess I'll shave that too. Doesn't take much. Just kind of a quick touch up. I can even do kind of a slant motion. And that light touch is crucial. Nice, easy clean up here. No irritation being generated. Any of that. Because that blade is so smoothed out. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, now we'll do kind of a full rinse. Check out everything and then put on the balm. And that's a nice quality shave. I didn't really expect it to be that good. It felt really good. I didn't feel like I was leaving stubble as I was working the different problem areas, especially right here. Really nice, really nice. So I can't remember if this is 4.5 teaspoons or 6.5 teaspoons. It really might be 6.5. I'll have to pay attention. If you lost track, kind of like I did, look at the description of the video and it'll be in the lather section if you want to know. And we are going to go ahead and put on the Sharp Dressed Man from Stirling. Definitely a little more liquidy than current Stirling balms that I have that are a little newer. But the scent is nice and it does work well. I guess it could be a different formulation. They may have changed their balm a little bit. If you have excess product, do the back of your neck. Do your elbows. All kinds of other places that need hydration. Even your forehead sometimes needs it. Ah, good shave, man. All right. So like I showed you, this is a small little brush, not a whole lot of tips, but it feels like a bigger brush on your face. It really does. I'm so glad I lucked into this one. This is almost like a freebie brush that somebody threw into a big box of soaps that I bought. And I'm so glad I stumbled and ended up with this, stumbled on this brush. It makes me enjoy it every time I use it, and it kind of surprises me. This is how it looks after a towel stropping, so it does fill out a little bit more. As you can see, it's not really opening up very much. The splay, it's not moving out very much. It's being slow to do that. But to be honest, it's an enjoyable brush right where it is. And more of these tips are going to split gradually. And so it may take a while to be a terrific knot. But I'm keeping this guy around because right now he's enjoyable as opposed to my other Omega brushes, the 20102. And the really tall guys like the Pro 48, the Pro 49, those guys. But also there is the one that's the Barber is the 10098. That's kind of got the black kind of Barber type handle, a little bit longer. I took that out of the rotation because of kind of what I was saying. Just it's not enjoyable. The throw is so long that it's lagging behind instead of like this one being a good splayer when it's moving around on my face. So I took it out of the rotation. I wasn't interested in waiting on that guy anymore. Even if it did become soft later on, it was still, the lagging problem was still going to be an issue. When is this Nacet going to quit? I don't know. It just, with it after shaves like today, it's still giving me excellent results. Just 4 passes, comfortable, close. I mean, come on. There we go, folks. Great shave. Really enjoyed it. Little brush surprised me. Love the soap. And the razor and blade just keep on going. Love the Fatip. And so we're good. Hope there was something good in here for you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Good night.